Welcome to Monograph Matters. I'm talking today with Dale Hay and Kaye Cook about their SRCD monograph on children's prosocial and aggressive behavior. This discussion focuses on their decision to study prosocial and aggressive behavior simultaneously.
Dale, could you tell us why you think it's interesting and important to study prosocial behavior and aggression together?
In the early 20th century, when developmental psychologists first started studying social interactions of very young children, it seemed natural to study the two things together because they both happened in the same nursery school context. And so the early research showed this kind of intriguing finding that these two behaviors were positively associated with each other. So the child who shared with classmates was also likely to engage in quarreling with classmates and possibly use a bit of aggression. And then as we moved on into perhaps more developmental theory-led research, the two topics really dissociated from each other. And I think that is particularly true as they were studied in adults in social psychology, and the study of aggression and violence became part of the focus of criminology and criminal psychiatry. And so looking at these topics in adults just went off in very different directions with different theoretical frameworks, different research questions, different labs devoted to the study of the two separate things. So when there was a kind of resurgence in the 1970s of interest in early peer interaction, with the work I did with Hildy Ross and other work done by people like Carol Eckerman and Deborah Vandell and others, you immediately were faced with the same observational evidence that the two things could occur within the same 20 or 25-minute period. And however, the literatures by that point in developmental as well as social psychology were so separated from each other that it seemed almost imperative to look at one rather than the other, because you would be quoting that particular research and it would go to reviewers who had expertise in that side of social development. And it really was, I think, the case that those of us who were studying observing interactions of young children with their peers or with their siblings, we obviously noticed both types of behaviors. We obviously included them in our observational coding systems, but we tended to publish the data separately. And that was certainly true for me, as well as for most of the other people. And so if I go through my CV, I'll have a set of papers from a single collection of observations, but they will be published on prosocial behavior over here, conflicts and aggression over there. And so what it means, I think, is that we didn't really have a clear theoretical framework to look at the interrelations of those two really important ways of engaging with other people. And we also then didn't notice the fact that prosocial behavior is, in most of the data sets I'm talking about, was much more common than aggression, that aggression is that conflict is universal, but aggression is a fairly rare event.
Great, really interesting. Kaye, do you have anything to add?
I have watched Dale's work for a long time, and I have kept up with the prosocial literature, the literature and aggression, not so much. And as we were thinking about this monograph, Dale put a couple of ideas out there, and they just weren't going anywhere. And then she proposed the idea to look at both of them together. I think there's a resurgence of interest in prosocial behavior and in aggression. There's very few studies that I know of that look at both of them together. There are a few out there, but not many. And when Dale proposed this idea, it seemed right. The time is right. She's got data that are amazing. The field is ready for it, I think. So I do think that the idea is a good one. Also, I think the way the questions are addressed is really unusual. The field badly needs to move beyond parent-teacher reports to look at what kids actually do. We really need to look at longitudinal data because we aren't looking at the same children in the studies that are being reported. And also, I think the methodologies are interesting. Dale has created methodologies that are child-friendly. It's a context that brings out children's behavior in a way that I think would honor the tradition out of which we come.
Thank you for watching this video on the monograph issue, Prosocial and Aggressive Behavior, a Longitudinal Study by Hay, Payne, Para, Cook, Hashmi, Robinson, Karras, and Slade. If you liked this video, consider watching our Monograph Matters playlist. For additional resources related to this and other issues of the monographs of the Society for Research in Child Development, please visit monographmatters.srcd.org.